This is podcasting, and I am Jonathan, your host today on the Coruscant Courier. If you listened to our podcast yesterday with my brother Mark, we talked about a lot of incredible storylines from the current season of Clone Wars, and there was one in particular that I wanted to build upon from yesterday that we didn't really have enough time to cover in our podcast, and that was the theory that Plo Koon lives. And this is a theory that I have had for a while, but the reason I wanted to talk to you guys about it is because of the implications of it on the rest of the Star Wars universe. Because if someone like Plo Koon survives, he's going to play a humongous part in, we would assume, Ahsoka's storyline leading up into Star Wars Rebels, and potentially even further on through the original trilogy and even the sequels, as Plo Koon is probably a couple of hundred years old during the Clone Wars. So I want to list you guys the reasons I feel that he is alive and that we are going to see him survive this Friday on the Clone Wars. And if not this Friday, at least on May the 4th when we get the final Clone Wars episode. Reason number one, he is Dave Filoni's favorite character. Dave Filoni has treated Plo Koon like his baby, almost to the point of how he has treated Ahsoka Tano. So Dave Filoni just has this incredible love for Plo Koon. And he has already saved Echo 3 different times so far in the Star Wars canon, from perhaps even more deadly looking explosions than Plo Koon's ship. So if he can do that with Echo, he can certainly do it with Plo Koon. So that's my first reason. My second reason is we actually never see Plo Koon die. He is one of the only deaths in Order 66 in the original Revenge of the Sith movie. He really is the only one that we don't see blatantly die. We don't see a body. You can definitely tell when the ship crashes that there's a chance that his cockpit went into the water and the rest of his fuel cell from the ship went into the nursery and exploded. So there's certainly room for him to have survived the attack, because we never saw a body. But we are definitively certain that everyone else in Order 66 unfortunately perished. So there's ways around his supposed death. The third thing is, in an interview back in 2015, Filoni was quoted after an episode of Star Wars Rebels, after Rex and Gregor and Wolf were introduced into the series. He was answering a question from one of the fans regarding more information regarding the clones, such as Wolf. And Dave Filoni answered, well, to some extent, can't say too much, but Wolf wasn't the clone that tried to take out Plo Koon. And so after I heard him say that, I was like, he said tried to take out Plo Koon. Why did he even bring up Plo Koon? Plo Koon wasn't even in the conversation. He didn't need to say that. So that was suspicious to me, and certainly piqued my interest that he tried to kill Plo Koon. So that means he failed. And we know it was Jag. It wasn't Wolf. He very much clarified that it was not Wolf, but it was Jag. So that certainly is something credible. And then in an interview with Dave Filoni himself and James Arnold Taylor, they were being interviewed asking about, of course, Echo's deaths. And James Arnold Taylor said, well, for example, Plo Koon, we don't know that he's dead. And Dave Filoni said, that's true. I've actually had this conversation with George Lucas before, and George is, and I tell George, oh, well, maybe Plo Koon ejected or he hit a parachute. And then George would say, but the parachute hit a snag. So it's very clear that Dave Filoni wants a chance to be able to put Plo Koon somewhere into the canon to where he can make an impact on the series as he already has. We forget how big of a character he really is in the Clone Wars. We don't really see him in the movies, but we definitely see him a significant chunk in the Clone Wars being a mentor to Ahsoka and even to Anakin. So he plays such a big role. He's the one who found Ahsoka. He's the one who brought her to the temple. He's really the one that she trusts, even as much as Anakin, maybe even more than Anakin, for advice. And that's significant. I don't think that we should overlook that. And we don't know what happens in all the forming years between the Clone Wars and Rebels. We don't really know, other than some of the books that are out. But I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say that Plo Koon is going to survive this Order 66 attack that we're going to see on screen. And he is going to be used in a different arc that Dave Filoni is currently working on. It is rumored that there is a Darth Maul series in the making. There's also rumored that there could be other series after this with Ahsoka in it. And of course, that could be The Mandalorian. That could be the Star Wars Rebels sequel. We don't know. But I think he has more plans for Plo Koon, and he has another way to have him die more honorably. And I know that this is something in the Star Wars fandom that has been talked about a lot, but everyone loves Plo Koon. I've never heard of anyone who does not like him. He's been my favorite character since 1999, when Jedi Power Battles came out and we were playing basically all the levels of Phantom Menace on PlayStation. It was so much fun, but I've just been a fan of him since then. But, other Jedi, people didn't really care that they died. Ki-Adi-Mundi, people are just like, you know what, he deserved to die. He was so mean to Anakin, treated him like dirt. Same thing with Mace Windu. A lot of them feel like they deserved to die. Plo Koon was one of those Jedi that we really feel didn't get an honorable death, and he did not go out the way that a true hero like himself deserves to go out. Kind of like Admiral Akbar in Episode 8, Last Jedi. The way that they took Akbar out of the series was unforgivable. So I don't think Filoni wants to do that with Plo Koon and a couple of the other characters. I think we're going to see some other survivals of Order 66, but I think that there's just so many ways that he could save Plo Koon. There's no body. He's already hinted at wanting to save him. He plays such a crucial part in the Star Wars canon, especially during the pre-Galactic Republic, the pre-Galactic Empire years. That I think we're going to see him survive. I'd like to know your guys' thoughts, so leave a comment, your thoughts, whatever you have on this. I'd like to hear them. I'd like to know if I'm the only one in the world who sees this coming, or supposedly sees this coming, or maybe I'm just crazy. But I truly do believe at the end of this series, Plo Koon will be alive, and there's going to be somewhere down the line, there's going to be an explanation of how. But I think Wolf is going to play a role in that, and I think we also had a hint of this in Rebels when Ahsoka and Vader meet up, of course, and have their long-awaited meeting at last. And Vader is about to kill Ezra. He wants to know where the remaining Jedi are, and Ahsoka says, "There are no more Jedi. You and your Inquisitors have seen to that." And then Vader replies back, "Perhaps this boy will tell me what you will not." So clearly, there are more Jedi that are alive that are not Kanan, Yoda, and Obi-Wan, because Vader knew that they were alive. So, he maybe not where, but he did have a feeling that they were alive. But there were other Jedi who he knew were out there, and I believe Plo Koon's one of them. And we are going to find out this Friday or this Monday. So anyway, guys, thanks for tuning into the Coruscant Courier. This is a special theory podcast. Leave your thoughts and your comments, and we will see you all soon. May the Force be with you, always.